Where are you from?
I'm from Nepal.
Do you believe in God?
God, it's a difficult question to answer. I don't know. According to the general definition, I think I don't actually believe in God, but I know the practices that the religion teaches are good, so I practice those religion. But I don't believe in God per se.
What religion are you referring to?
Hinduism.
Are your parents Hindu?
Yeah.
Do you think they believe in God?
Yeah, I think so. They do. My mom believes more than my father.
What about Hinduism do you follow or go?
Yeah, I follow the practices that the Hindu people do.
What are they?
So we all worship God at temple, at different religious rites, and also we have our own religious practice. Annually, we have this main ceremony. It's called Mahapuja, which is the main festival where the Hindu people of my group come together to celebrate in one place. So,
really?
Yeah.
Where do you think we go when we die?
I answer this more scientifically than from the perspective of religion. I think that's it. You don't go anywhere. It's just ashes. That's what I believe.
Where do you hope we go when we die? If you could go against science or whatever, where would you want to go?
I want to go into a parallel universe, maybe if there is one. So, just be me. I want my knowledge with me. If I go somewhere else.
I believe in an afterlife. I also believe in reincarnation. Maybe not in this universe or maybe in another universe, but I definitely believe in the idea of rebirth and being reborn.
If you could create an afterlife, what would it look like? What do you hope heaven looks like?
I can't really create anything in my mind that's better than this life, so in an ideal situation, for me, I guess, is just an opportunity to be a human again. Maybe in a different part of the world, and have that happen to me over and over again. And then at the end, I can just gather all my experiences from all these other walks of life. And then I can truly be enlightened. Whoa, I've lived so many different lives now that, I'm just a more intelligent being.
I believe that when people say God, they mean different things directly with their religion, with what they call it and all that, but I think we're all hinting, it's all hinting at the same thing, which is just some it's kind of a cliche term, but higher power. I don't know what else to call it. You could call it God, or you could call it anything, but I've seen I see the same conclusions through certain beologies and just spiritual thinking and just going through life and having new thoughts in my brain growing, being pretty young, I making new realizations about myself and my environment and just having deep conversation with my bros. It's we really are getting at something. I think just about everybody I talk to believes in isn't totally atheist, or the friends that I've had that have been atheists, truly atheists, where they're no, it's just the physical world. There's even enough beauty just in the physical world to me that is God. You know what I mean? I don't need to picture a dude in the sky or whatever. This shit is just crazy. So that's the crazy. What makes it crazy? The shit that we can't explain. That's God. That was pretty hard to follow, but that's what I said.
Do you believe? Do you have the same religion as your parents?
No,
Or what do you like? Are your parents religious?
well, they say they're Christian, but I think that it's a little more nuanced than that, and they just don't like to flesh it out. I think they're probably more closer to what I think, which is like some higher power. But yeah, my dad was raised Catholic, my mom was raised like some other type of Christian, and we would go to some like Episcopalian church or something. But we would only go on the holidays. It wasn't that deep. Yeah, but they're Christian.
Where do you think we go when we die?
I don't know that one yet. I mean, if I had to guess, I would say like some type of like mass. Well, I don't know. Maybe if there's a mass of souls out there that is like more of a singular, unified entity of some kind. Maybe you could say that that's like through decomposition and like being reintroduced into the environment, and your particles we're like made of dinosaur pee or like whatever. Maybe that's really like maybe the dinosaur spirit is in you then, maybe that's the reincarnation. Like maybe it's not something that's like a literal soul going into the sky. Maybe like that analogy is more talking about a natural process that is truly spiritual in itself without considering like another plane or anything, you know what I mean?
Where do you hope to go? Like what do you hope to see when you die? Yeah.
I would hope to just be like, I would hope to have some semblance of consciousness beyond my death, just because, wishful thinking, but if not some level of consciousness, at least, continuing, well, I can't help but continue to, the physical particles that make me up are going to keep going, so I can't help that, but that's cool with me, you know what I mean?
I believe that we have many labels for the same higher energy, and I feel like people shouldn't be afraid of the word God because of the way that we have constructed it. Because ultimately, don't you think you should be making your own vocabulary and definition of words in your life? Like, who are you if you don't have your own? And that's why religion is so construed now, because it's like people think it's like a thing that other people have, and they don't have the individualism in it anymore because it's the lack of education. And it's the projection of that lack of that ignorance onto something. And it's just like you refuse to understand something so huge. And it's not religion. It's not that. It's just something huge. And because it's religion, that word religion, it keeps people from exploring, where we should be naturally curious. We should be naturally exploring, and you shouldn't be afraid of words until you learn your own vocabulary and definition, and not just looking at seeing it from people or just hearing it from people. Like, as someone who grew up around religion exclusively and didn't necessarily always understand what the fuck people were talking about, like, when you're young, you don't know.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing as being an older person and not necessarily being around that environment, and then now hearing more words about, like, or say, like, abortion, or hearing more words about this or about that. And then you see that this community of people have these opinions and thoughts about it. So then you have now your projection, now that's your opinion, and now that's how you feel about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's crazy because I did more work into understanding religious people than people who put down religion or don't wish to be religious.
Mm-hmm.
I do the more work to understand why.
Yeah, yeah.
as someone who I don't like identify as a religion, but like I understand it deeply.
Yeah.
And I did the work to do that.
Yeah. To earn the ability to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like I can say clear and adamantly how I feel about these things because I know that sometimes people just say words without knowing many definitions of them.
Oh, yeah, I feel like if
we say red just to not have to say corduroy or like in like
everything in
maroon
between.
and everything in between for a reason, you know.
Yeah,
So
but the thing is, I don't know
how
many people look at like God like that.
That's
like,
yeah.
Do people like
because red is not God and God is not the color red.
So how do you see God?
How do I see God?
You got it.
Yeah, you got it. I think like I've had a very interesting interaction with God and religion and spirituality. You brought up Octavia Butler earlier. That's really when I actually came into like my conversation with spirituality. And I thought, oh my God, how interesting and also fitting is it that an Afrofuturist, like black female writer was the one that like started to get me to actually think about religion. Like, what the fuck? And for the longest time, I was kind of ashamed of that. And like, I was like, I had genuinely like started a spiritual journey after reading Parable of the Sower. And like, I never really wanted to tell people that because I was like, that's not how a religious or a spiritual journey starts. It cannot start from a science fiction book. But like, now I'm at the point where I can say that like, yeah, that's what like brought me into my spirituality. And I think the whole concept in Parable of the Sower is that God is change. And like, I remember reading that first freaking line of that book and reading it over like 10 times. And I hadn't even read the book. But I was like, whoa, that's powerful. And then like the book talks about like an apocalyptic world and like what happens after, but that like the governing law, at least of the universe, is entropy, and that everything decays and then restructures itself and decays. And for me, God is a process of decay and restructure. So God for me is entropy. And I got to that conclusion through Parable of the Sower.
I grew up as an evangelical Christian, and I grew up in like Christianity and everything like that. But as of right now, and I've been struggling with my like finding out what I identify with in terms of like religion. But at this point, I'm past religion, and it's kind of scary for me to say. Like even like this past Easter, Easter used to be the most important holiday in my like life. Past my birthday, of course. But Easter used to be really, really important. But this last Easter, I didn't even know it was Easter. Like it completely just passed by. So like just thinking about where I was back then when I kind of had no choice but to go to church, and now, hey. But yeah, I definitely do not believe in the same thing as my parents.
Where do you think we go when we die?
I think you go wherever you thought you wanted to, or wherever you intended to go. If Christians believe that they're going to go to heaven, I think they're going to go to heaven. If people believe they're going to go to hell, I guess you're going to hell. If people think they're going to be reincarnated, is that reincarnated? Yeah. Then you're going to get reincarnated. I don't know. I feel like it's too vast of an idea, of a thought, to just limit it down to one.
Where do you hope we go?
Me?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't mind going into a black void and just floating. I don't mind. Don't bring me back here, though. Do not bring me back here. Like, do not bring me back here as especially if there's racism still around and you bring me back here as a black person again. Hey. Too much. Too much. But, yeah, I kind of want to go into a black void and just float.
There's always hope for the future, but I know at some point, you know, it's just been a lot of stuff going on in the past probably decade, like natural disasters, mass shootings, and stuff like that, that you wonder if this is like a sign of like, are we starting to enter into like the, I don't know, the decline of, you know,
The end times.
the end, yeah, like that. So I mean, I worry about that, but that's not me. All I can do is pray that, you know, that's not the case, and, you know, rely on, you know, God's in control, and, you know, He's the one who's gonna decide when it's time for the second coming of Christ, you know. But yeah, so I mean, but I try to keep the hope, you know. I want to see, because I don't, you know, especially for young people. I mean, I'm like in my middle age now, so I've lived a pretty good life, but I want to see my kids and grandkids be able to have the same opportunities and not have to worry about the earth just crumbling, you know, that sort of thing.
Tawahedo is the true faith and the only faith. That means oneness with the Most High, God, Ziabher, Kaddish Selassie. We call the Holy Trinity name after a mother title. It's called Kaddish. Kaddish means the holiest when it translates to English. So Kaddish Selassie, the holiest Selassie. Our father, our mother, our brother, our sister, our spirit. Yeah.
Do you believe in the same thing as your parents?
My parents?
Yeah.
Yes, my true parents are, you know, my true parents are Jesus Masih and Dingle Maria. Dingle Maria, which is Ethiopia, you know? They are the true parents. Yeah. The rest is biological, it just means that we should respect and honor our biological parents too. But it is automatically, if we obey, if we respect Jesus Masih and Dingle Maryam, it's automatically no problem with the parents. I mean, it's like one, you know? It's one. እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን። እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልኝ for the interview. እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልኝ means God give you for your positive thoughts and your encouragement for yourself to know about Ethiopia.
Thank you. Give thanks.
Give thanks.
Thank you.
እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን። ድንግል ማርያም ትመስገን።
What does that mean?
Okay, እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን means እግዚአብሔር is our father, our king, our creator, the father. And እግዚአብሔር is the mother. So I said እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን, እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን, the father, mother, king and queen of Ethiopia. King and the queen of all kings and queens of Ethiopia. Jesus Masih, Maryam, Sihon, Ethiopia.
How do you feel about the future?
The future is good, you know. It's good. It's always good. I mean, now it's good. Everything is good, you know. Most High, Ziabher created everything and they said it's good. So there is no future and past there is, but I mean, everything is good. It's up to a man now, you know. It's up to us to be good for one another. Love the Most High, the Creator, God, with our soul, spirit, and mind, and love our neighbor as we love ourselves. That means we love ourselves right, and we love our neighbor the same way, right? Fair. As long as we are fair to one another, and love one another as we love ourselves, no problem. Because love is God, the Creator.
The way I, like, on the most importantly looking through everything is through that faith lens, and I know that the victory's already been won by God and Christ, and that it's just how do we help make sure more and more people who are in these places of varying types of despair or not having any hope, more and more people being able to have hope. And I feel like one of the reasons I have the most strong sense of hope and promise and optimism is that God works through each of us to help get that message, that good news message out to other people. So more and more people can be in a place where they feel like this world, even though it's got a lot of bad things going on and there's a lot of things that challenge us, there's still overall a reason to be hopeful, excited, and go, what role am I supposed to play while I'm here? That not only helps me be in a good place, but the people who I love, and also, the broader communities in which we operate in the broader world. So yeah, I'm, as bad as things are, and I can see it, like we talk about it a lot, politics, the breakdown of the family, drugs, gambling, like run amok. Every time you turn around, the runaway profit motive and all the different ways that shows up. White supremacy, just people being concerned about how they look, how much money and power they have. But yeah, I don't let those things get in the way of that hope I spoke to, and the reasons for that hope.